It was supposed to be just another quiet evening in a small-town diner. The neon sign flickered outside, and the smell of coffee and fresh pies filled the air. Sarah, a young waitress, moved from table to table with her usual bright smile, not knowing that trouble was about to walk in. A group of thugs stormed through the doors, loud and arrogant, their laughter echoing across the room. Customers lowered their heads, pretending not to notice. But Sarah wasn't so lucky. They called her names, mocked her, and made demands that crossed every line of decency. Her hands trembled as she tried to keep her composure, but the fear in her eyes told the real story. No one dared to interfere, no one. Until the door creaked open again. What happened next would turn this ordinary night into a tale the entire town would never forget. Part 1 500 words. Sarah had been working at Miller's Diner for almost 3 years. The place was more than just a job. It was like a second home. The regulars loved her warm smile and friendly attitude. She always went the extra mile, whether it was remembering a customer's usual order or cheering up kids with free lollipops. That night, however, the atmosphere shifted the moment the thugs walked in. There were 4 of them, rough-looking men in dirty leather jackets, smelling of alcohol. Their boots thudded against the diner's tiled floor as they claimed a booth in the back. At first, Sarah hoped they would simply eat and leave, but trouble was written all over their faces. "Hey, sweetheart, bring us for coffees. Make it quick," one of them barked, snapping his fingers. Sarah nodded politely and went to the counter. She had dealt with rude customers before, but something about this group felt different. Their eyes followed her like wolves circling prey. When she returned with the coffees, they weren't satisfied. One of them leaned closer, his grin twisted. "You know what would make this better? If you sat down here with us," his friends laughed, pounding the table. Sarah forced a nervous smile, trying to brush it off. "Sorry, I'm working. I can't," but the men didn't like being refused. They grew louder, mocking her. One reached for her wrist, making her flinch and pull away. The other diners noticed but avoided eye contact. Everyone was too afraid to step in. Inside, Sarah's heart raced. She wanted to scream, to call for help, but she knew these men wouldn't back off easily. The diner's cook peeked through the kitchen door, worry on his face. But he was an older man, no match for the thugs. Sarah felt trapped, cornered in her own workplace. Then, the unexpected happened. The bell above the diner's entrance rang, and the heavy door swung open. A group of bikers walked in, 5 of them, dressed in black leather, tattoos covering their arms, helmets in hand. Their presence filled the room with sudden silence. The thugs stopped laughing. Sarah froze, unsure if her night had just gone from bad to worse. Part 2 500 words. The bikers weren't strangers to Miller's Diner. They often stopped by during their rides, always polite to the staff, always paying generously. Despite their intimidating appearance, they had earned Sarah's quiet respect. Tonight, their timing seemed almost like fate. As they took their seats near the counter, one of them noticed Sarah's pale face and trembling hands. "You okay, kid?" he asked in a low, steady voice. Sarah hesitated, glancing back at the thugs who were now whispering among themselves. She gave a small nod, not wanting to cause more trouble. But the biker wasn't convinced. Meanwhile, the thugs tried to reclaim their bravado. Well, one sneered, standing up. "Look who just rolled in, wannabe tough guys," his friends chuckled. But their laughter lacked confidence now. The lead biker stood, towering over the thug. His voice was calm, almost too calm. "Sit down. Finish your coffee. Don't bother the lady again," the thug smirked. "Or what?" The biker leaned closer, his eyes unblinking. "Or you'll find out." A tense silence gripped the diner. Customers who had been pretending not to notice now sat wide-eyed, waiting to see what would happen. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The thugs were reckless, but the bikers were a different kind of danger, disciplined, deliberate, and unafraid. The thug tried to laugh it off, but his shaky voice betrayed him. "We were just having fun. Fun doesn't make someone cry," the biker replied, glancing at Sarah. Suddenly, another biker stepped forward, slamming his hand on the thug's table, rattling the cups. "Apologize," he growled. The diner was dead silent. The thugs exchanged nervous looks. One muttered, "Sorry," louder. The biker demanded, "Sorry." The thug repeated, this time loud enough for everyone to hear. Sarah's eyes filled with tears, not of fear this time, but of relief. She mouthed a quiet thank you to the bikers, who nodded back. But the night wasn't over yet. The thugs, embarrassed in front of the whole diner, weren't ready to swallow their pride so easily. One of them whispered something, and they began to rise from their seats again. The air thickened with the promise of violence. Part 3 500 words. The bikers remained calm, but their eyes sharpened like steel. They knew the thugs weren't done. The lead biker stepped between Sarah and the men, his broad shoulders forming a protective wall. "You've got two choices," he said evenly. "Leave now with your dignity, or stay and lose it." The thugs scoffed, but their bravado cracked. Still, one of them swung a fist in frustration. That was the final mistake. In a swift move, the biker caught his arm, twisted it, and pushed him back into the booth. The diner gasped, forks clattering on plates. "Sit down," the other bikers closed in, their presence overwhelming. The thugs, realizing they were outmatched, finally gave in. Muttering curses under their breath, they stumbled toward the door. One threw a final glare at Sarah but quickly looked away when the biker's eyes met his. The door slammed shut behind them. Silence hung in the air before the diner erupted into quiet applause. Customers smiled, relieved that justice had been served without further chaos. Sarah, still shaken, approached the bikers. "I don't know how to thank you," she whispered. "You don't have to," the leader said with a small smile. "Nobody messes with family. And in here, your family." Tears spilled down Sarah's cheeks as she nodded. That night, she realized something important. Courage doesn't always come from standing alone. Sometimes it comes when good people step in at the right moment. The bikers finished their meals quietly, refusing any special treatment. When they finally left, the sound of their engines roared like thunder in the night. Sarah stood at the diner's window, watching them disappear into the darkness, her heart forever grateful. The story spread across town by morning. Everyone who had been in the diner rattled it, each adding their own details. But the truth remained the same. Thugs came in to terrorize a young woman, and bikers walked in to protect her. It was a reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and that real strength lies in protecting the vulnerable. Call to action CTA. If this story moved you, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more powerful stories like this. And tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you were in that diner? Do you want me to keep this script in narrative storytelling style like a short movie? Or should I polish it into a direct YouTube storytelling voiceover style with shorter sentences and dramatic pacing?